Hello, everybody. Alrighty, we're live. I was live before and it was not letting me. Alrighty. So today I am going to be talking about a being called Anaisa Pye. A lot of you guys have asked me for this video before. However, I had not had the chance to make it until now. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to like the video, to give it a thumbs up, and to put on notification bell so that way whenever I go live, you are notified of me going live on YouTube to share anything that I have to share with you guys. You are not, if you just got here, you're not late. You're here just on time. Now keep in mind, when I talk about any being, it is the way that we honor that being in my lineage. That doesn't mean that other lineages are wrong. Doesn't mean that my lineage is wrong. Just means that this is how they're honored in my lineage, and I tried the best of my ability to share with you guys with respect and with love how these beings are honored in my lineage. And I ask that you have respect and compassion, and that you respect each other when speaking about this in the comments, and also to consult with your godparent as well if you are initiated and you just have some questions as to why certain things are seen or done differently in different lineages. Okay, so let's take a look here. So like I said before, the being that we're discussing today is Anaisa Pye. So Anaisa Pye is a being that is associated in my lineage with the image of Saint Anne. So Saint Anne used to actually be a healer. She is known more in the Bible side as the grandmother of Jesus. Okay, so she is kind of synchronized with Saint Anne. The way that it was explained to me was that because Anaisa Pye could not be seen as in her African form when she came to the New World, she asked us to honor her in her path as Saint Anne. Now keep in mind, these beings, they can have multiple lifetimes, multiple paths the way that we do. Anaisa Pye is known as the woman of 7 paths, which means that at the time that she became known more for Anaisa Pye, she had 7 paths already, meaning that there were maybe 7 ways that people already venerated her, 7 ways that people already knew her in different ways in different lifetimes. Okay, so that is the way that I was explained it since I was a child, and that's the way that I understand it, is that because I know that all of us can have multiple lifetimes, multiple ways of being, even though we're the same soul. This is kind of one of her paths is Anaisa Pye, and she is seen as the Catholic saint, Saint Anne. Okay, now Anaisa Pye is a very interesting being. I love her. A lot of people in my lineage have worked with her. She is a being that is usually petitioned for love, for money, for joy, for marriage stability, for fertility, for a lot of things that have to do with women's health and men's health too. She helps both men and women. She is kind of, depending on which lineage she's in, she can come in as a very flirtatious young maiden, or she can come in as the grandmotherly energy that we may need in that time. It depends on the spirit horse that she's working with and in whose head she ends up showing up. Okay, so in some people's heads, she may be the mother. She may be a mother. In some people's head, she may be a grandmother energy. In some people's head, she may be a young maiden who's flirtatious and who is always laughing and giggling and looking in a mirror and things like that. Which is why in her younger version, a lot of people kind of say, hey, she reminds me of Oshun, because she's very similar to that energy as well, where she's like kind of like, you know, mirrors and perfume and flowers and and sweets and fruits. Like, she loves those things in that young energy. In her older energy, she's a little bit more mature, likes more mature things. it speaks a little softer, doesn't giggle as much. More is more of a wiser. She's wise in all of her paths, but in her older path, in the Saint Anne path, she's a little bit more reserved. Okay, so Anaisa Pye is very special to me, and I wanted to do this video in a way that would honor her the right way. The first thing I want to say is, when you are called to work with Anaisa Pye, please be respectful, and also please keep in mind that you shouldn't, if you're not initiated, usually in my tradition, you don't just build an altar for any being, okay? Or you don't just start putting beings on your altar or building huge altars for beings. These things are done with respect, and they're done in building a relationship with that being. And sometimes, unless that being is coming to you a lot and it's calling to you, you shouldn't really be building altars unless you're initiated, because the initiation process protects you from accidentally connecting with something that's not there, okay? Connecting with a different being rather than the one you're trying to connect with. The color for Anaisa Pye, her color is yellow. Some people associate her with pink, but I've never really associated her with the color pink. I've associated her primarily with the color gold, the yellow, and with like an emerald green sometimes. Very, very, very rarely. Very, very rarely. When you're working with her for money, sometimes you will give her some like dark green and yellow or gold to attract money to you, but her main color is yellow. She is very joyous. She is very grandmotherly. She is very very much about bringing joy, happiness, love, marriage stability to your life, okay? Now, she has a few foods that she likes. Really, pretty much every yellow food is something that we usually offer Anaisa. Anaisa is known for liking beer, so a lot of people will tell you, give Anaisa beer, don't give her any other alcohol. She doesn't really like any other alcohol. I know in my lineage, she usually only drinks beer. She loves beer. She doesn't usually have a particular brand, but for some reason in my lineage, we always gave her Corona. Now, you could give her whatever beer you want to give her, but that's usually her drink. She usually drinks beer, or at least is associated with drinking beer. She loves honeydew lemons, honeydew melons. She loves lemon juice. I know she's recently told me she likes lemonade. She loves, depending on the time of the year, you can give her pumpkin lamps. That is when you carve out a pumpkin and you turn it into a lamp. She loves sweets. She loves bananas. She loves pretty much every yellow fruit out there because she loves yellow. She is, sometimes she can be associated with certain things like orchids or lilies because of her association with certain other loas. Anaisa is really interesting because she is a being that, a loa or saint, however way you want to call her, that is kind of has a lot of political power in the spiritual realm. So she is able to kind of get away with anything she wants, but she's able to really give anything anyone asks for because she has a lot of power. She kind of reminds me a little bit of that queen mother energy. If you're thinking about the hierarchy of like queens and queen mothers, where, you know, she's no longer the queen, but she's always the queen. She's the queen mother. So she kind of can get away with a lot of things. She has a lot of political power in the spiritual world, like I said before. And so what does that mean? That means that when she's working for someone, like if she's helping you, if she's your guide, and you need help for her with money, but she, you know, her main thing is love, she will link up with another being that is really, really good with money, and she will make it happen. Or if you're asking her to help you save your relationship, she will link up with a being that's really, really good with relationships. A lot of us in our belief, we believe that her and Archangel Michael work very closely together. That they are very good friends and that they work very, very closely together. And she also helps with fertility issues, because in her path of Saint Anne, she couldn't have a child, and Mother Mary was kind of like her miracle child. Okay, so she does help with fertility for people who are having issues having children, people who are having issues healing their body. She is also a great healer spirit. She is really, so in my tradition, in my lineage, we believe that she is another path of Saint Anne. So yes, in some places they see it as, oh, we just hid Anaisa Pye under Saint Anne so that we could worship her while the slavery was happening. But in my understanding, she is kind of like, those are two separate paths that she lived. And that is just how different people saw her in different parts of the world. And that's why we can use the image of Saint Anne to represent her in the 21. So that is just the way my lineage sees it. Other lineages may say that that's not true. But to me, that she is two paths, 2 lifetimes. And you are able to honor her in those 2 paths if you would like to. She is very good with keeping people safe. She honestly, she's a kind of like a do it all. She does everything. Everything you can possibly ask her for, she pretty much does it. Let's see here. She loves yellow roses. She loves orchids. She loves lilies. Her day is July 26th, which coincides with the patron Saint Anne. So it coincides together. She's usually, someone asked if there's anything that she doesn't like around her. I don't believe so. The only thing that I ever experienced that Saint Anne does not like, because it happened when I was a little girl, my brother and I were kind of, when we were little kids, we were kind of being loud and disrespectful, and she does not like cursing. She does not like people cursing around her. So that's one thing that she doesn't like around her. She doesn't like cursing. She doesn't like when children are disrespectful. But other than that, she's really a very easygoing being to work with. I find that she's kind and caring and motherly, and she is kind of a little bit like Archangel Michael in the sense that when she tells you no, you're kind of okay with it. When kind of like that, no, but maybe later. Just like a grandmother. Just like, okay, grandma, that's fine. You said no now, maybe later. But she is a beautiful being to work with. I highly suggest that if you do want to get into working with her, please just be very respectful. Understand that she does like certain things to be in a certain way. She is, like I said, very grandmotherly. So she does like you to kind of be respectful. Don't curse around her. You shouldn't be cursing around any of your beings anyway. Although there are some beings that like to curse because they were humans at one point. But there is, that respect there. She is very good with money. She loves jewelry. She loves perfume. There is actually a perfume that is actually named after her that's called Anaisa. And it's a really beautiful scent. It smells like orchids. She loves perfume, loves mirrors. There are certain mirrors, whenever you put a mirror, if you are going to put a mirror on her altar, she has told me it's really important to make sure you close that portal so nobody else can use that mirror besides her. Like I said, to some people, she may show up in her flirtatious young self. Some people, she may show up as a grandmotherly person. So it's really important to know which one you're working with, and to just be open to receiving the love and the support from her. So I hope that answered some of your questions. If you have further questions on any of the beings, leave them down in the comments and I will respond to them as I am able to. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to leave your comments below. Make sure you're being respectful to each other. If you heard anything different that you haven't heard before here, then go ahead and, I would highly suggest that you talk to your godparent as well. So it's really important to just kind of to really ask those questions as well of your godparents. Like I said before, her statue, in at least my tradition, is the Saint Anne statue. So if you're gonna do an altar with her or work with her, you usually would use the Saint Anne as her representation. Many blessings to you. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.